Hi there, it's Louise with you of Timeless Craft Mama, and today I'm sharing a scrapbook layout process video created for Colour Blast. Now, I didn't really have a particular idea when I started this page, but I think it's turned into something that I really quite like. I had the new Colour Artist ink in Soot, and I wanted to do something with the dropper that comes with the bottle. So I really wanted to create a page not that had splatters, but that utilized the dropper that came with the actual Colour Artist ink. So what you're seeing me do is spray each edge of just plain white cardstock. I haven't prepped this in any way. There's no gesso or anything on it. It's just ordinary old white cardstock. And I'm adding some of these stripes running down the page. Again, not a real clear idea of what I'm actually doing here, but this is sort of how sometimes a layout will progress. Now, you'll actually see that each time I do a layer, I let it dry. So I don't use my heat gun as such, but I do actually leave it off to the side while I work on another project and then come back to it when it's dry. But what you'll also see is that as I'm adding some water to help with those running drops, you do reactivate that actual Colour Artist ink. So be aware that, even though it's dry, it will still activate, and that if you want to add mediums over the top of it with water, then I would suggest using some kind of sealer. Now, I've picked my photo for this layout, and it has kind of this pop of orange. I really think it's so cute because it's my boys when they're a little bit younger and they're playing in the park. So you can see that something's caught their attention and they really are enamored by whatever they're looking at. I can't remember what it was, but I liked the little pop of orange in the layout. So I'm sort of going with a bit of a orange theme on this page. So I've used the colour paste in Tangareen Dream, and the stencil is from Tim Holtz, which I've just sort of used part of, and I wanted to add some of those bits of texture into the background of those sort of drops that I'd made. I don't know what you'd even call them, but certainly the layout itself develops into something that it really wasn't heading that direction to start with. So I decide also to trim the white cardstock, which I've mixed mediaed. I don't even know if that's a word either, but let's roll with it. So I trim that, which not only gets rid of some of that black and the unevenness, but it also ties the layout together with that orange in the background. Now, I have chosen a 6x6 paper pad to use some elements from, because it's just one from my stash, and I knew that it had a little bit of orange in it. So it's got the Stay Wild, and I've also picked out a couple of Charms Creations elements as well. So some splatters, adding a little bit of extra colour again, just trying to mix that up a little bit. And then I decide that I need to sort of frame that photo. You know, I've got quite a detailed mixed media layout going on in the background, and I've got my photo. I just needed to lift that photo out of the page a little bit. So I take this chipboard frame, and firstly I'm going to give it a coat of just white gesso. And look, you don't have to use white gesso, but my personal preference is to use white gesso on my chipboard, purely just because I think you get a truer colour representation than just a raw chipboard. So depending on the product that you're using, and in this case I didn't really know what I was using, I'd sort of toyed with a embossing powder, but I end up going with a spray. And then even though the colour is sort of close to where I want it to take the green out of that Stay Wild cutout, it's just not green enough. So I start with the Rainforest colour spray, and then I want it a little bit greener, so I'm actually going to use the Shimmer Dust in Lush. And so you can see my little shimmer palette here. And initially when I was doing this, I was thinking, oh no, that's too green now. It's not the same sort of muted colour as the Stay Wild background. But at the same time, I sort of put it on the page and thought, oh, it actually lifts really well. So I ended up leaving it with that Lush colour. I didn't actually change the colour after that. Now I've also got my title, which is nice and easy. It's just a thick as phrase, thick as word, whatever you want to call that, and basically just some really minimal embellishing over a very mixed media background. So not terribly difficult, but I really think that this layout has this quite bright, striking effect, and it's something that I really quite enjoyed putting together. It was lots of fun. So thank you for watching, and of course check out Colour Blast for products used in this video, and don't forget to subscribe.